What is up, guys? Teddy Cornwell here. Welcome to the Underdog Talk, the world's most underrated podcast on earth. And ladies and gentlemen, there's just something about the underdog. But today's guest, fitness guru, most jacked 60-year-old on the planet. I'm just going to say it. Guinness, or whatever the world record book is, don't sue me, but this is the most jacked man on the planet for 60 years old. And happy late birthday as well. The one and only Clark Bartram. What is up, sir? How you doing today, man?
I'm awesome, my brother. Teddy, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it very much. I'm all about it. So I'm ready to dive in the deep end, man.
The deep end. And, I can't complain either. I had a good workout today, arm day for the fourth day in a row. Now, Clark, I do have to ask your professional opinion. I heard so many different opinions. What is your thoughts on a rest day, and do you think it's needed?
I think it's up to the individual, right? If you feel like you're overtrained, if you feel exhausted, if you feel like you just don't want to train for some reason that there are more important things in your life, you're in this for the long haul, right? You're not just doing this for 12 weeks. You're not just doing this for your high school reunion or whatever it is to go to the beach this summer. You're doing it because you want to be someone who lives this lifestyle. So having a day off here and there, a week off, in my opinion, for me, it's worked out extremely well. It's not something that I get on myself for. Now, there are certainly times when I don't want to work out. That's just me being lazy. Like today is a perfect example. I have my EWAT system filling up with oxygen. I'm looking at it going, oh my God, it's like a 59-minute countdown because it's brutal to get out there in that heat and sweat and breathing through a mask and doing all of what I'm doing. But afterwards, I'm so happy that I didn't give in to that laziness. So you got to understand the difference between the two things.
I like that. If you're feeling sore, take the day off. If you're feeling lazy, get your ass in the gym, I think is what Clark just said. And I couldn't agree more on that. Now, let me ask you this. What is your thoughts on cheat days? As we're seeing so many different kind of research, not research, but so many different opinions on that. What is your opinion on cheat days, Clark?
So if someone comes to me and it's one of the first questions that I ask, I won't work with them. I won't work with them. I don't need them as a client. I don't want them as a client because it tells me instantly that their mind is in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Now, there's a difference between what people, and you use the term cheat day. If you're going to cheat, it's a meal. It's not an entire day.
Oh.
It's a meal. So I don't like to use the word cheat because cheat is never associated with anything good. If I cheat on my wife, if I cheat on my taxes, if I cheat on a test, it's always associated with something negative. So if you're rewarding yourself, like my good buddy Mike O'Hearn uses high day. So it's a high calorie day. So instead of using the word cheat, which has a negative connotation, we reframe that and use high day or free day or fun day or whatever it is that you want to call it, that might lend itself to something a little less negative and a little bit more conducive to not feeling like you're going down on your fitness program, but you're just giving yourself a little bit of freedom. And oftentimes those days are good when you have a surplus of calories, and they might come in the form of a carbohydrate, which you might not normally consume. It's good. So I think it's important, but I think it's important in context. Again, don't come to me and say you want to hire me as your coach, and then that's the first question out of your mouth. I don't want to know you.
I totally agree on that. And I think I do remember refeed days from when I did bodybuilding, and those were, oh man, those were special days, Clark, refeed days. And speaking of the gym, can you tell us about your fitness journey and how you got into the, fitness world? And then would you describe yourself as a fitness influencer?
I would say yes. I'll work backwards. The terminology that we use today, I'm certainly a fitness influencer, but everyone is a fitness influencer because not everyone's going to be exposed to me. And you have a circle of influence, and then the people have a circle of influence, and they're going to influence a person to either start a fitness program or not start a fitness program. It's that simple. You're being influenced somehow, some way. That's why I'll ask people, who are the 5 people that you're surrounding yourself by? And I know where your life is headed by that. You're being influenced by those millionaires or ripped people or happily married people or recovery people, whatever it is. So with respect to how I got started, I I've told this story on several occasions, but I'll keep it really quick. I've always had a bicep that looked like that. Even when I was a little kid, it was a very peaky, freaky bicep. And when I was a young kid, we had this thing called a bull worker, and there were 4 of us in the neighborhood, and we would trade it around, and we were just, train biceps and see who could get jacked. We came to the playground one day, we were all flexing, and it got to me, and literally my arm looked like that. And they all made fun of me. I ran home, found my way to a local YMCA at about 12, 13, 14 years old, whatever I was. There was a man by the name of Henry McGee there, and he said, "You're not deformed. You have a gift. You could be a champion bodybuilder one day." And that unknowingly to me at the time set me on the path that I'm on. I've been an athletic guy my whole life. I joined the Marine Corps because I wanted a physical challenge. I rose up in the Marine Corps quickly. Then I played rugby in the Marine Corps, and then I got out. I got into the gym business. I got into a bodybuilding show. I saw some photographers at a bodybuilding show, and I thought I could be in the magazines. Got in the magazines. Then I'm like, oh, I could do movies based upon my physical prowess. So it's been since that day on that playground that I realized that there was something different about me compared to my peers physique-wise. And I also had my quadriceps were overdeveloped for the growth platelets in my knees. So, growing up playing football and all that sort of stuff, my quadriceps just getting strong from running and all of that sort of, they were getting stronger and stronger, and they were putting pressure on the growth platelets in my knees. So the remedy back then in the 70s was to atrophy your muscles. So they wanted to put me in 2 casts in a wheelchair and just let my quadriceps atrophy, giving my growth platelets in my knees time to catch up. So that was the thing back then. Yeah.
I love how everything's
We've come a long way.
Yes. Yeah.
Medicine.
I was going to say the same thing. We've come a long way, and thank you for your service, Clark. We all appreciate it here, and the Underdog Talk is more than, grateful for your service. And obviously playing rugby in the Marine Corps is, geez, that must be a hard-hitting group of people there. And wow. And I saw that you were in Batman. Is that correct?
Yeah, I played in a short film called Batman Dead End that really took on a life of its own. It's still to this day, I still get letters, like my wall right here is just full of Batman stuff that people send me. And
I think you put it on mute, Clark. You're good.
But
You're good.
yeah, so that was a really cool experience in my life to get to play such a beloved character and have it live on forever. Like we did this in 2003, and I still get people reaching out to me today, just really excited by the fact that they put 2 and 2 together. You're like, oh my God, you played Batman in Batman Dead End.
Well, there's only a few of you that have played Batman, and geez, you're in an elite company right there, Clark. And obviously, something that really interests me about you, sir, is obviously besides being the most jacked 60-year-old on the planet, what I find really interesting is your target demographic. And that target demographic is obviously specifically targeted towards men above 50. Would you say that is your main target, right?
Absolutely. Because if a 26-year-old guy came along and is trying to tell a 55-year-old guy what he needs to do to get in shape, there's no life experience to back up whatever knowledge that kid might have. While it's great, he might know more than me about kinesiology and all of these sorts of things, nutrition or whatever. It doesn't replace the fact that I've been on this planet. I've been through raising kids, starting businesses, failing at businesses, knee problems, just life year after year after year, to it's added up to this age that I'm at now, that I can't even believe I'm 60 years old. It literally blows my mind. I don't feel like it. And that's really what gives me a unique selling proposition, is the fact that I do represent myself in a way that the average 60-year-old guy doesn't. So why wouldn't I have that be my target demographic? It's just ripe.
100%. And that makes so much sense to why you decided to obviously help the demographic that you selected. And gosh, my dad must be jealous, man. He's the same age, and I will say he Clark, I swear I thought you were 25, sir. Come on now. And obviously, one thing I was watching is you talk about how as we get older, our testosterone slowly stops producing, and we're at a point where we're at a standstill. And what are the ways that we can kind of help our test remain, or even stay the same or go up? I saw some of your videos where you did the cold plunge and you did the red light therapy. Would you mind talking about how we can keep our test the same levels or even raise that test?
Yeah. Well, I'll never tell a guy that because of his age, his testosterone is going down. That's what the internet is saying. That's what people who don't practice what I do say. They're just stating these generalized studies that nobody's really shown me any. No one's certainly shown me a study that included me or guys that live a lifestyle like me that remain active and don't buy into, well, I'm 50 now, I can't do that. I'm just going to start reading the obituaries and see how many of my buddies died. That happens. And, obviously I am facing some situations in my life where it's out of my control and I'm dealing with stuff that I don't want to be. But I tell guys that the first thing you need to do is believe that it's possible and stop believing all of what you see on the internet, because the mindset piece is the single most important part of any of what we do in life, period. So I have 5 principles that I teach: mindset, meals, movement, community, and integrity. That's the way you boost your testosterone naturally. Following these 5 principles collectively to the best of your ability on a scale of 1 to 10. I tell my guys, if you're at below a 7, you need to get above a 7. And we determine how and what that looks like in each guy's life. But people think that there's one path to getting fit. Like it's not just about getting on the treadmill. It's about eating right, getting on the treadmill, lifting the weights, recovering, taking the proper supplementation that are filling the voids, getting your blood work done to find out what nutrient gaps are in your specific makeup at this stage of your life. People look at one thing and expect that to be the answer, like TRT. Guys don't live the lifestyle, then expect TRT, one thing, to be the end all be all, when TRT ain't doing shit for you unless you have lifestyle to accommodate it. So I know for sure, based upon massive amounts of experience and waking up to messages from men every single day, no exaggeration, Clark, thank you. I lost 20 pounds. My testosterone went up. So that's number 1, lose weight. And that's really number 6, my 5 principles: lose weight. If you're 50 pounds overweight, 3/4 of American men are obese. So if these guys start losing weight, their testosterone will go up. If guys get around other guys, that's why I have community in my 5 principles. You get around other guys, your testosterone is naturally going to raise, especially if you start competing. Women's menstrual cycles sync up. Why wouldn't men's testosterone sync up? And if you're around a bunch of men with a high testosterone, this is why athletes, listen to me now, this is why athletes miss competing. It's not because they want to throw a pass and get hit in the ribs and they miss that. They miss going into the locker room saying, dude, I threw a pass. That guy hit me in my ribs. Oh my God. And they all start talking shit and it raises testosterone up. That's facts. Somebody argue with me about that.
Well, I certainly won't argue with that. And I have heard of TRT, but I'm not too familiar with it. So if you're having a lifestyle that is, active, healthy, would you say TRT is a good option then, Clark?
It could be, for sure, depending on what your levels are. And that isn't indicative of whether or not you should get on TRT right away, because everyone, the majority of people, generally speaking, will go look at their blood tests. And if their testosterone is like the range is 300 to 1200, depending on which lab you go to. Quest is like 3 to 12 and LabCorp might be 2 to 8, but it's a big range. And if somebody like my buddy Michael Hearn, for example, I don't know if you know who he is, but Michael Hearn's a big, strong guy. He has admittedly throughout his entire life been a low testosterone guy. And and I believe him till I see a needle sticking out of his ass, is natty. He doesn't do any drugs or any of this sort of thing. And he is certainly one of the strongest people I've ever met. He doesn't get injured. He's a freak. He's an anomaly. So having low testosterone doesn't necessarily mean you need to automatically and go get testosterone. It comes back to, how are you feeling? How are you functioning? You know, a really good sign is, do you wake up in the morning with a boner? If you wake up every day with a boner, you probably don't need testosterone. But if you have a hard time getting an erection, there's a good chance there could be something there. So the next thing alongside of losing weight is managing your stress. That will cause you not to get an erection. That will cause you to gain weight. That will cause you to have high cortisol, which will have an effect on testosterone. So when you start playing with these hormones, you know, there's something called a cascade hormone. The hormones have to be creating the pathways to make everything work efficiently the way the body was meant to work. And the body can continue to work at 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, even 90 years old. So it's a matter of lifestyle and controlling weight, managing stress, getting the mindset right, being around the right people, having integrity in your life, obviously eating the right foods that are conducive to building blocks in your, you know, protein, good quality protein. So, yeah. So, but if someone rules out all of those things and they're like, Clark, I literally tried everything, then absolutely go get some TRT. But go to a qualified person who knows what they're doing, and they're going to look at your blood, and they're going to have you giving blood every few months so your red blood cell count doesn't go up too much and you're not getting thick, sludgy blood and things like that. These idiots that go get it from their buddy at the gym and just start willy-nilly shooting it in their ass with no guidance, professional guidance, and not just from some strip mall freaking testosterone clinic that gives every guy the same protocol. You have to really seek out proper coaching.
No. Hey, and that is 100% accurate on that. Now, let me ask you the reverse. What are the ways that people can hurt their testosterone? Obviously, you talked about having, you know, high cortisol levels, high stress. What are other ways that, you know, you see people hurting their test levels and having that actually drop down?
Other than everything that I just mentioned, like not living the lifestyle, well, alcohol can do it. So if, let's say, for example, a guy comes home at night, he has a very high stress job, and the first thing he does is goes to get a scotch or whatever, and he says, I'm winding down and it helps me sleep. You're not really sleeping when you're drinking alcohol to wind down before you go to bed. You're not. If you track your sleep, you'll see that it's not deep sleep and it's not cycling the way it should, because that is the single most important factor that any of us can improve upon to make life and quality of life better, which includes testosterone. So when you're sleeping, your growth hormone levels are rising up. But if you're not sleeping, or you're in a false sleep and you're not really getting deep sleep, not REM sleep, but deep restorative sleep, which you need about 2 hours of that at night, usually at the beginning of your sleep cycles, that is getting you back to homeostasis, where your hormones are kind of leveling out and everything's getting right. But if you're falsely sleeping, you know, with AIDS, then you're really not recovering the way you should. So now you start doing other things to help you during the day when you're not ready for the day because you weren't rested that night. So that will absolutely destroy your testosterone levels, because that factors into stress and then weight gain and elevated cortisol and all of that. So once again, all of this stuff is connected. There's not any single path to any of this. This is why medicine is so weird, because medicine is practiced in silos. Like you have your podiatrist here, you have your cardiologist here, you have your endocrinologist here, you have your general practitioner here. And typically they're not really communicating on a level where the hip bone's connected to the thigh bone. We can't just treat things. That's where the word holistic comes in, right? We got to look at this in a bigger picture and know that all of these things together will be what leads you to where you want to go. And if it's higher testosterone naturally, it can and will happen for sure. Your body is so amazing. You know, the thing that really pisses me off with educated people. I had a guy trolling me the other day, 61 years old. I looked at his Instagram page, personal trainer, this, all these certifications. And he says, I think I call BS. You're on TRT. I know what I'm talking about. I've been in this industry forever. And I looked at him and he looked, man, he was just jealous because he trains and he doesn't look like me. That's the bottom line, because I give him my number. I said, call me. Well, I'm at my son's wedding. I can't right now. I said, you got my number. Call me when you're ready. Dude never called me because he knows I am like way smarter than him when it comes to me. Like, you have studied everything in the world, but you don't know jack shit about me. Bro, I'm 5'8", 185 pounds. It's not possible to have abs like that with all your education. What are you, stupid? And that's what I would have said to him. And he didn't want to hear the truth. But it is completely possible. I will look this way at 70. I will look this way at 80 if I choose to.
Yeah.
If God willing, I live that long. I could die tomorrow. I don't know.
Hey, Clark, they hate us because they ain't us. That's the saying that the young kids are saying, and they hate us because they ain't us. And for that guy, he's just an asshole because, I mean, look at you, man. You are the epitome of what men's health should be, men's health should look like. And I think we can all take, some examples and learn from obviously you. And, shit, when I'm 60, I want to look like you, Clark. And I think everyone should want to look like you. I don't think if you don't want to look like Clark, then, you got some soul searching to do. If you're fine being lazy and not looking good, then, that's a you problem, I guess they say. And I do have to ask the $1 million question. What is your biggest tip for someone who is looking to, kind of get into the world of working out and really discover and find themselves in their fitness journey? What is your biggest tip basically for someone who's looking to start their fitness journey, Clark?
Don't let starting stop you. Everybody's like, yeah, I'm going to start Monday. I'm going to start January. I'm going to start. Just get up and do it. Like, literally right now, if someone is watching this and they're considering starting an exercise program, real talk, stand up and squat down as far as you can 10 times. Get up off the couch and sit down on the couch 10 times with intention, with the idea of my legs are getting stronger. My heart is beating faster. Oxygen's being pushed through my body. I feel better. I'm breathing deeper. I am now changing my mindset because I'm not just sitting here consuming calories that are going to end up causing me to be one of those 75% of US men that are obese. Like, if people don't want to look like me because they're used to the normal, we have a really messed up problem in our country. We really do. I'm a patriot. I love this country. I've served my country. But you know what? We live in a cesspool. We're poisoning people every single day. If a dad bod is what is accepted, I don't want to fucking be a part of it. I don't want to be like, you know what I mean? And nobody can say, oh, you're not an American. Bullshit, bro. I'm a Marine. I love this country, and I love this country enough to say we need more men that look like me at 60. This should be what is expected.
I totally agree. And I think it's, going back to that, it's you versus you the day before. Get your ass up, do something that you didn't do the day before. Like Clark said, 10 squats day one, make it 20 squats day two, 30 squats day three. Just keep on doing it until you're looking good, you're feeling good, you're mentally there, you're physically there. Because you could mentally be good, but if you're physically not fit, then you're not your complete self. And I always learn that from some of the best guests in the world, that if you're not mentally there and you're physically there, you're not yourself. So, I mean, Clark, this is the Underdog Talk, and this is the final question for you, sir. What has been your biggest underdog moment in your life so far, where everything was stacked against you? You were the underdog. You were on that hill climbing forward. What was your underdog moment, sir?
I think throughout my life, it's always been, you're not tall enough. You're not tall enough to be a quarterback. You're not tall enough to be on a magazine. You're not tall enough to do this. And I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? Yeah. It literally has nothing to do with anything, but people will buy into that if everyone starts saying that to you. So one specific situation that really stands out to me with that, my size and stature and all of that, is before I was ever on a magazine cover, I was at a shoot, and it was for Muscle and Fitness, and it was just for a few pages on the inside. And I was holding this girl like this, And I spun around to the photographer and I'm like, this is a cover. And he looked at me and he said, you'll never be on a cover. And I'm like, why? He said, well, you're too big for the fitness magazines. You're not big enough for the bodybuilding. You're kind of like in no man's land. And I thought to myself, I'm not accepting that. I refuse to accept that. And every time I see that photographer to this day, I always joke with him. I say 135, 140. I like keep count of how many covers I've been on with him. And he just shakes his head. He's like, I know, Clark, I never should have said that to you, but look what I did. I got you motivated to do this. So that's always been it right there, because people are like, and even joking, like people joking around saying, it's not like I'm whatever the proper term is, a little person. I'm 5'8". I think that's like average height, maybe 5'9". I don't know. You look like you're about the same height. So where you at?
I'm at 5'6". I'm close there.
A little bit. So yeah. So you get what I'm saying.
Yes,
you get what I'm saying. Did you wrestle in high school?
No, I didn't. Everyone thinks I did, but no, I didn't actually wrestle in high school.
So anyway, that's been it. And I would encourage you, don't let anyone tell you any of that sort of stuff. But it's never ending, right? Because I'm just going to get shorter as time goes on. But my confidence, my presence is always going to outshine anything else. It's because of the belief that I have in myself based upon the experience and in the proof, the evidence that surrounds me everywhere I go.
I love it. I love it. Don't let anyone ever tell you you can't. I think that's what it comes down to. Don't let anyone ever tell you you can't, because if you want something as bad as you really want it, there is nothing in this world that can stop you. And I truly mean that, Underdog Talk. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, one more time, the most jacked 60-year-old on the planet. And I'm going to say that, Underdog Talk. And I believe that. Now, Clark, before we go, the floor is yours, sir. Where can we find that Instagram? Where can we find that social media? Any new projects you're working on, sir? The floor is yours. Batman Part 2.
Well, that'd be nice, but I don't think that's going to happen. So my social media, Instagram is at Clark Bartram, and TikTok is the real Clark Bartram. But something that I'm doing right now, Teddy, is I recently been diagnosed with prostate cancer. So I have started a nonprofit organization called Check It Like a Man. I'm raising $500,000 so I can go out and tell every man who will listen to check your PSA, your prostate specific antigen. So far, there have been 3 guys that have come to me and said, Clark, because you say shit the way you say it, and I like you, and I've been watching you, I had my PSA checked, and I found out that there is something going on that needs to be looked at a little bit further. So I'm the perfect guy for this disease, and I am accepting it 100% fully with a beautiful energy and an understanding that this is an opportunity for me to elevate my platform and widen it to almost make me on the same playing field as everybody else, because I know a lot of guys who would look at me in an advertisement, this guy's all jacked, he's on steroids, he's gay, whatever they would say about me to justify not doing anything. Now, when I say, listen, I have cancer, it levels the playing field instantly. And my goal is this. I want to be the most jacked, best looking, most positive prostate cancer guy that ever lived, because when a guy sees me online or he sees me in person and he's with his wife, or they see me say, like on Instagram, yeah, I got prostate cancer, get your PSA, and they'll go, this guy's got cancer? Shit, I'm going to go get checked tomorrow. And the wife goes, I've been telling you that forever. Go get checked. So I am the perfect guy for this, and I need people to help out. So it's checkitlikeaman.org. Donate as much as you can, as often as you can, share it with as many people as you can, because I am literally a man on a mission. This has got me more fired up than I've been in a long time. I'm excited about the journey ahead. And that's why I'm doing this EWOT training. I just bought a steam sauna. My backyard is a recovery center. I got the red light right there. So I am doing the work to get rid of some of the underlying things that may have caused mine. I'm doing research. Check out my YouTube channel. A great video just dropped today on there. So there's a lot of great content coming, but I need help getting it out to the world.
And I saw on our good buddy Tim Wilkins, he shared that as well. So you know what, Underdog Talk, every dollar that you do, we'll donate. We'll do $1 as well. So just pour it in. All those links to Clark's stuff will be in the bio. I think it's so important that, we support this and we all get checked out when we need to get checked out. Don't let it hide, as Clark mentioned. And hey, if Clark can look this good, you can look this good. Keep doing your thing, guys. And guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe on this video. Until next time, guys, the most jacked 60-year-old on the planet and the Underdog